Meal planning doesn't have to be complicated, especially if you keep it simple and focus on what matters most, and that is protein. Today, I'm going to show you how to plan out a high protein meal plan for women over 40 so that it's simple, it's very basic, and it's not going to take over your entire Sunday. So if you're new here, my name is Heather, and I make videos about yoga, fitness, nutrition, and mindset, all rooted in yoga philosophy. And today's video, we're going to go over how I do my own high protein meal planning as a woman over 40. I have used this strategy to help me build muscle, to compete in bodybuilding competitions. And I'm also using this strategy right now as I'm in my own personal fat loss journey, as I did add on a little bit of that perimenopause weight, and I'm working to take some of that off. And so this is the strategy that I use to plan out a high protein meal plan as a woman over 40. So the first step is to figure out how much protein do you need in a day. So if you're trying to plan out that high protein meal plan, what does high protein mean? All right. So a good rule of thumb to use is your current weight in pounds or your goal body weight in pounds, and eat that number of grams of protein per day. So for simplicity's sake and for conversation purposes, we're going to use the example of a 150-pound woman or a woman who wants to weigh 150 pounds. So we're going to use 150 grams of protein as our example today. All right. Now, that does not mean you're going to eat 150 grams of chicken or 150 grams of fish. We're looking at the protein content in those particular foods. So let's figure out, well, how do we do all of this? This is great, Heather, but how do we do all of this? Okay. So what I suggest doing is to take your total number of grams of protein per day and divide it up into the number of meals that you prefer to eat per day. And we're going to diagram this out here on my whiteboard here. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So for 150 grams of protein per day, if you divided that up into 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you would eat 50 grams of protein at each one of those meals. Now that is a lot of protein to eat all in one sitting. It can, not feel great on the whole digestion system. That might not necessarily be the strategy that you want to use. So what I'm going to do is show you how do we break that up into smaller meals. So if you take 150 grams of protein divided by 5 meals a day, that's 30 grams of protein per meal. Now you say, Heather, that's 5. I can't eat 5 meals a day. Let's take a look at it from this perspective. Breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. 30 grams of protein each. So let's diagram this out. So for our proteins, so we know the protein is a macronutrient. If you download my nutrition and meal planning guide, this is where we go a little bit more in detail on the different macronutrients, which we know are protein, carbs, and fat. So this is what we're going to use to build out our high protein meal plan. Okay. So we have protein, carbs, and fat. All right. And so fat, we want some good healthy fats to help with hormones and all of those things that happen as a perimenopausal, menopausal women. We want to make sure that our hormones are getting those healthy fats that we need. That's not the point of today's video, but it's important to note that we are going to include carbs and fat in a high protein meal plan. Okay. So if we take 150 grams of protein per day divided by 5, that's 30 grams of protein per meal, right? So if we start with breakfast, snack number 1, lunch, snack number 2, and then dinner. All right. And you can diagram this out in an Excel document, on a piece of paper, on a whiteboard like I have. I actually have a smaller whiteboard that I keep in my kitchen that I use to do my meal planning. I do work from home. So by having that whiteboard just in my kitchen, it's just right there for me all the time. You could make a Google Doc or some sort of document that's right on your phone, so you have it at all times. All right. So we're just going to make this nice chart here. And so because we're prioritizing protein in this high protein meal plan, that's what we're going to start with. So when we say we're prioritizing protein, that means we start with planning our meals around our protein source. Okay. So what I would do to get started here is figure out what's going to work best for you. If maybe you're 160 grams of protein per day and you want to eat 4 times a day, right? So you would do that math. Okay. Then from there, what I would do is start making a list of protein sources that you like. Okay. So maybe you like chicken, egg whites, salmon, shrimp. Maybe you're allergic to fish, so fish is not on that list. Maybe you eat red meat, so you've got maybe beef or bison, something like that on here. Maybe pork. I don't eat a whole lot of red meat. I do eat a little bit. I don't eat a whole lot of red meat. And I don't eat pork usually at all. So I don't include that on my list. So what I would do is just start with a list of protein sources that you eat, that you like, that you will actually eat, okay? And if you are vegetarian or vegan, write out those protein sources as well. So things like tofu and beans and lentils, things like this that are going to give you that protein source, okay? So then from there, what you're going to do is you're going to start building out your meal plan here. So for breakfast, maybe you want to have egg whites. And lunch, maybe you're going to have some chicken. And then dinner, you might have salmon. All right, so you've already got 3 meals based around a high protein source, okay? And then for a snack, maybe you're going to have some cottage cheese. All right, and here maybe you'll have a hard-boiled egg, but take out the yolks. Maybe you'll have just the hard-boiled egg whites, okay? So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sources of protein for the day. We need to get 30 grams of protein out of each one of these meals. So basically then what you do is you figure out, well, how many egg whites do I need to have to hit 30 grams? How much cottage cheese do I need to have to hit 30 grams, okay? It's not exact. You might have 20 in one meal and you might have 35 in another and 40 in another. It might be a little bit, not exactly 30 grams, and that's okay. So how do you do this? What do you do? What I like to do is I use a meal planning or meal tracking app. I like to use MyFitnessPal. It is free. I know like right now they're running an ad. So when you open up the app, it looks like you have to pay for it to use it. Just close that ad. You can still use the free service of MyFitnessPal. And then what you'll do is you'll create an account, you'll log in there. And for meal number 1 for breakfast, you're going to type in egg whites, okay? You can go look at the label of your egg whites, of the egg whites that you've purchased from the store and see, well, how many grams of protein is in a serving of egg whites? And then you figure out, well, how many egg whites do I need to get that 30 grams, okay? And then you're gonna do the same with cottage cheese, chicken, all right? Chicken, you're gonna eat probably 4 to 6 ounces depending on, how much protein you need here. So if you need 25 here or 35 here, you can move that, you can adjust that around. So when we're talking about how to create a high protein meal plan as a woman over 40, prioritizing protein, this is what we mean, all right? You plan out your meals and you base it around your protein source. And then from here, what you can do is you can fill in your carbs and your good healthy fats. So your carbs are going to be your complex carbohydrates, things like sweet potatoes, quinoa, things like that, but also your fruits and vegetables. So you're going to have things like starches, fruits, vegetables, okay? Things like you get carbohydrates from things like Brussels sprouts and asparagus, things like that, okay? Eat berries, apples, melon, things like this are going to have a good carbohydrate source in there. So from there, from your egg whites, you're going to add your starches, your carbs, your fruits, your vegetables, whatever it is that you're using as your carb, and then maybe a healthy fat. So maybe half or a quarter of an avocado, whatever it might be. Using an app like MyFitnessPal or any other tracking app, whatever one you want to use is totally fine. Using those apps is really what's going to help you figure out, well, this is what I want to eat. Those apps are going to help you figure out, well, how much should I eat? It's going to help you with the portioning of your meals, all right? So, and then again, from here, you can come in here, you can start filling in, I guess I have an extra column here. You can start filling in cottage cheese. Maybe you're going to have it with some raspberries, right? Your chicken, maybe you're going to have it with some asparagus and quinoa. All right. Well, how much? How much quinoa am I going to have? Well, again, you can use those meal tracking apps to help you figure out the portions of what you need for your specific goals. Everybody's needs are going to be different. Everybody's caloric needs are different. Everybody's protein, carbs, and fat breakdown is going to be different just depending on what your goals are. But again, as a woman over 40, if you're trying to, whether you're trying to build muscle, you're trying to lose body fat, or you're trying to maintain where you are, it's a good rule of thumb to use your pounds in your body weight in pounds, either your current body weight or your goal body weight, and use that as the number of grams of protein per day that you'll eat, and then split it out into a manageable meal plan. And then this is just going to be your meal plan for one day. All right. You could plan out, maybe you want to just plan out breakfast and lunch to get started. All right. If this seems a little bit overwhelming to you to do all of this for a whole week, just plan out your breakfast and plan out your lunch. You might have the same breakfast every single day, or you have 2 different breakfasts that you like to repeat. Totally fine. Okay. And so if you start making a list of the things that you like, then you can just start plugging them in very easily. You don't have to sit and think about it. All right. So I do have a free nutrition and meal planning guide for women over 40. It's to help you feel like you again, to help you feel like your old self. And we really go into detail on the protein, carbs, and fat, and how to build a plate, how to build a meal. Okay. And so if you go to nutrition.sorellawellness.co, you can download that nutrition guide. It's free. I also have a macro planning and meal planning workshop that you can purchase as well. And I do have a wonderful guide that goes with that, where we go into the very detailed specifics of how do you plan out what is a macro, and how do you figure out what your macro breakdown is, how many calories do you need per day. We figure all of that out. And then I've got a list of these different types of foods, different protein, carbs, fats, maybe things that you haven't thought about that you're like, oh, I want to try that. So I've got a list of foods in there for you. We've got some recipes, examples in there for you as well. And then I also do offer a healthy lifestyle strategy session where you're like, okay, I get this. This kind of makes sense. It's a little overwhelming. And if you want to take some time, sit down with me and we can go over your unique needs and help you come up with that plan. It's a one-time healthy lifestyle strategy session where we go over all of this stuff. We go over the protein, carbs, fats, figuring out your macros, and then coming up with a plan for you and how you're going to plan things out and then execute the plan. Okay. That's why I love this. We just plan things out and we execute the plan. It cuts down on that decision fatigue. You don't have to sit and think, what am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to have for dinner? It's all planned out right there for you. Okay. And then as you do this, you starts to get much easier on repeat. You know the things you like, you know the things you don't like. You start just plugging things in. So if you like this video, make sure that you like the video, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with somebody who you feel might find this information helpful. And again, go to nutrition.sorellawellness.co. You can download my free meal planning and nutrition guide there. And I will make sure that there's links in the description to this video if you're interested in that macro meal planning workshop where we get more into the nitty-gritty of all of this. And then if you're interested in a healthy lifestyle strategy session as well, that one-time strategy session, I'll make sure the link is in the description for you as well there. So thank you, and I'll talk to you in the next video.